This video is sponsored by Skillshare. The first 500 people to use the link in the description get their first 2 months free. If you've ever made something, a song, painting, story, or the pinnacle of artistic expression, a YouTube video, you know it's incredibly fun and, well, pretty strange. Because creativity is kind of a mysterious black box. Some days you're flooded with ideas faster than you can write them down. Other times your brain just feels empty. It can feel less like a skill and more like the weather, coming and going, only somewhat predictably. Which kinda sucks. How do you ever get better? You want a recipe, a guide, just some indication you're on the path to eventual improvement. So what do you do? Well, if you want to improve your golf swing, you ask an experienced golfer. Find the best musician, artist, actor, writer, and ask, to what do you attribute your success? The problem is being good at something doesn't make you aware of why, or good at explaining it. These are two separate skills. We've all had that brilliant professor who just can't teach, so they very often have no idea. Worse, they're absolutely convinced they do. People love a good story. They'll turn a string of lucky circumstances into an exciting drama about overcoming challenges. Wrap it in a neat little bow, maybe sell it as an expensive dead tree. Famous people are, well, famous for giving advice like just be yourself, or follow your dreams and good things will come. Very profound and totally meaningless. There aren't many Bo Burnhams out there.
Don't take advice from people like me who've gotten very lucky. You know, we're very like Taylor Swift telling you to follow your dreams is like a lottery winner saying, liquidize your assets, buy Powerball tickets, it works.
Famous actors and CEOs are weird outliers. Their stories get the most attention, and they're the least useful. So how do you get better? We need a way of understanding creativity. Not how to sketch landscapes or write plot twists, but how to get better at, well, getting better. This is Ira Glass. You might recognize his voice.
Well, from WBEZ Chicago and Public Radio International.
He's host of the incredibly popular radio show This American Life, creators of Serial and S-Town. If there's such thing as a blockbuster podcast, these are them. And a while back, he gave a talk at my school. But what surprised me is how much of what he said applies to making anything. He's been doing radio for 30 years, but it doesn't matter if you're writing, drawing, acting, or editing. Creativity is largely the same.
All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But it's like there's a gap. What you're making isn't so good. But your taste is still killer. And your taste is good enough that you can tell that what you're making is kind of a disappointment to you.
If this is the process of getting better, the good news is that everyone starts here. Days, weeks, months go by with little progress. Want proof? Go back and watch a YouTube channel's first videos. Just please not mine. But progress is exponential. As you improve, you also get better at getting better. It just takes time and practice, ideally some instruction. In other words, take more photos, make more videos, and you'll eventually get better. But if that's really all it takes, why do so few people get past this phase? Well, because just keep making things may be true, but it's not really great advice, at least not by itself. You might get better, or you might make the same mistakes over and over again. Month after month, year after year, nothing will happen. Because there is one necessary ingredient: taste, awareness, the desire to make better stuff, and the knowledge that you aren't there yet. The gap is the difference between what you can make and what you wish you could make. You might say, but isn't awareness of your skill itself a skill? Unfortunately, yes, and that's why it's so easy to repeat the same mistakes. You don't know there is a mistake. When the gap is too small, your skill too close to your expectations, you won't improve. When it's too big, you'll give up. Only a tiny Goldilocks zone can sustain creativity long enough to get you to the exponential curve of improvement. And early on, satisfaction with your work is entirely artificial. You're smiling at garbage, but that's how you get past the necessary mundane phase of gaining momentum. But there is one problem with this theory. If improvement is exponential, why doesn't it always last? If this were true, people and companies would eventually gain so much momentum they couldn't be stopped. And yet they clearly come and go. and that's because the gap naturally shrinks over time. You get better at judging your own work, and you get comfortable. This is the plateau of progress, the reason even the biggest companies in the world have to stay on guard. Companies like Google and Apple operate with remarkable efficiency. They're so big it's hard to imagine them ever failing. But that efficiency is also their biggest threat. As they gain momentum, it's also harder to turn, harder to adapt. Even if way back in 2000 you predicted the rise of streaming video and the fall of movie rentals, you might still bet on Blockbuster. Sure, their business will change, but they can adapt with far more resources and efficiency than a brand new company. So what happened? They hit a plateau of progress. They stopped innovating. Management was just too satisfied. When Blockbuster was way over here, Netflix was barely here. And now, well, yeah. Which proves the power of a well-positioned gap of motivated dissatisfaction, and that it's never too late for a newcomer to learn quickly and rise exponentially. Even on YouTube, there's so much room for new creators. In fact, I very much encourage them, which is why I'm happy to announce my own course, How to Make an Animated YouTube Video, with today's sponsor, Skillshare. You can learn how I make these videos and how you can too. It's broken down into 10 short animated video lessons. Everything from choosing topics to researching, writing scripts, and animating. I go over my organization method, the apps I use, and specific techniques. Plus, you can post questions, get feedback, and I've included some practice files that you can easily download and get started with. It's one of thousands of classes on Skillshare, with other topics like art, writing, business, and photography. And a premium membership gives you unlimited access to all of them. But the first 500 people to use the link in the description get 2 months free, so you can watch my course and any number of others at absolutely no cost. Thanks to Skillshare for supporting this show, and to you for listening.